Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Muller here. How is everybody doing? Well, we have essentially Bonnie 2.0 here. Take a look at this, skipping along the northern coast of South America. If you remember that storm at the beginning of the hurricane season, well, we have a skipping along the coastline storm here. Well, look at this. Is this going to affect Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and Central America here for the weekend? Well, we'll get into all that here. We'll take a look and see what the chances are, and look at that. Quite potential more development behind that with all that tropical moisture. We have another tropical depression out in the Atlantic. Any cold air outbreaks for North America, and we'll also get into any hurricanes or typhoons here from the Eastern Pacific to the Western Pacific. We'll get into all that and more. Let's take a look. All right, so here we have it. Take a look at this. This is our track of this system, Potential Tropical Cyclone 13, on Thursday evening, heading into a tropical storm, most likely come Friday and into the weekend. And I really do think this could become a hurricane before it makes landfall in parts of Central America here. So definitely something to watch out for as we continue in time here. Take a look at that. So yeah, we're being steered here by a big high pressure system to the north over the Gulf in the southeastern part of the United States. We have Tropical Depression 12 out here. Even if this does form into anything, I don't think it will become anything major due to wind shear and unfavorable conditions. So taking a look at our system here, it is skipping along the northern coastline of South America. It is really hard to make out. You can see it in here. Lots of shower and thunderstorm activity behind it and ahead of it. Let's take a look at the particulars. All right, so let's start off here, the GFS, and we'll transition into the Euro here. So yeah, essentially Potential Tropical Cyclone 13, that's a mouthful, isn't it? Becoming tropical storm. Not going to say which name it's going to be because, yeah, we do have a tropical depression hanging out here. And I've gotten caught off guard with, trying to pin down a name on a storm before it's actually formed. So yeah, before we get ahead of ourselves here, take a look. So yeah, this system is essentially, I know I have a lot of viewers, Trinidad, Tobago area, Lesser Antilles. Yeah, you saw some, rain and wind out of this, quite a bit of way of rain and wind. I'll go over and see, how much rain and wind Jamaica and the Cayman Islands are going to see, because I've had a lot of inquiries here around the island of Jamaica itself. So Kingston, Jamaica, there it is. How close is this storm potentially going to get to Jamaica? Well, as you can see, this is Friday, October 7th here. It's getting pretty close. You can see the outer bands here. I think there will be some easterly feeder bands, maybe some potential tropical storm conditions just south of Jamaica. It's going to be really close, though, so we'll see if we can get some sort of rain up in the Jamaica area. But you see, it's really, I don't know, this system is really hugging the coastline. The Euro did have this pinned down the other day very well. A weaker, more southerly storm. This keeps most of the rain showers and feeder bands away from the Jamaica area for the time being. And then as we get into the weekend, take a look at this. It has its eyes set on Central America here. So yeah, this is going to be quite a hurricane as it veers towards the southwest here. I will show you this momentarily. There is a massive area of high pressure up here. That is going to keep this storm shifting towards the west-southwest. And the GFS has finally picked up on what the Euro has been predicting for days here. This system essentially could this cross over into the Pacific, Eastern Pacific? Well, Monday, October 10th at 2 a.m. Look at it. It's right in Belize here. So, yeah, Belize, I've had a lot of inquiries from Belize. Let's just back that up and then move through Sunday afternoon. Belize is your day. So whatever's left of this system, it could be a big flood event here. This becomes a massive inland flooding event, and I see the center of circulation being taken up kind of like in this direction. Here's the southern Gulf. So will this make it into the southern Gulf, or will it continue on through inland Mexico? Let's take a look. Yeah, it's kind of hinting it into inland Mexico, but we do have another impulse of energy trying to form on the northeast side of this come Tuesday, October 11th. So there is evidence here on the GFS that this high pressure may start to retreat a little bit towards the northeast. So let's take a look. We'll continue in time here, see what the GFS does with this energy. So essentially, it's kind of breaking it into two areas of energy, one in the southwestern Gulf and one in the eastern Gulf. So if you're in Florida Over to Louisiana, parts of Texas, you might want to watch this next week. Whatever's left of this system looks like it could get entrained into this frontal boundary that's moving across the eastern part of the U.S. You can see some of this tropical moisture might be able to make it from Florida all the way up into parts of the Northeast. And as we continue in time here, let's take a look. Yeah, there could be quite some big gully washers here along the U.S. East Coast. This is Friday, October 14th. The rest of the Atlantic doesn't look too bad. As I said, we had that tropical depression 12 out here, but I don't think much is going to happen with that system. Even if it becomes a tropical storm, it will be short-lived. Intertropical convergence zone looks like it's quieting down a little bit come mid-October, but the Eastern Pacific really is starting to ramp up. So whatever energy is left of this potential, hurricane in the Caribbean, it will kind of wash out across much of Latin America. So there you have it. Let's continue just a little bit farther, see if the GFS is hinting at anything. Well, not too much to be had out here. That last frame showing a frontal boundary. This is October 20th. We got one across the Great Lakes and Northeast here, and look at this, make a frontal boundary making it into the Northern Caribbean here. This big old mess up here, yeah, it looks like it could become something, but it probably will get re-steered out into the open Atlantic. All right, so take a look at the Euro. Let's get over to the Euro. That was the GFS. So here we go. We're essentially going to be looking at a system. This Euro's been handling this system beautifully. So yeah, this is Friday morning, just before sunrise. Look at this. Yeah, the Euro is pretty much in agreement with the GFS with one exception. It is a little bit tad further south. There is the island of Jamaica. So it's going to be really close, but Jamaica, I think you're going to make out okay on this one again. Look how far south the Euro is taking this storm. And the GFS is more up like this. So there's about 100-mile difference here. I'm going to go over rainfall totals with you here momentarily. I'll do the Euro versus the GFS. But look at this. The Euro brings this storm on the Pacific side. And if it maintains at least tropical storm status right over, it would maintain its name into the Eastern Pacific. So this would be, wow, that's rare to have two in one season like this. But look at this. The Euro indicates two pieces of energy after this. This is Thursday, October 13th here. Yeah, the Gulf is not completely off the hook here. So essentially, you have a low-pressure system here, a frontal boundary, all its moisture being entrained into it. So this could be a big player going into later next week into the following weekend there. We'll keep an eye on it here. The Euro's been pretty consistent. And we're going to take a look at the upper, mid and upper level humidity here. Yeah, this system initially is not going to have any dry air. You see this is denoted by the browns and the oranges here. Very green here around the system. Don't have any threat of any drier air. Look how dry it is up here in the mid-levels up here into parts of the Gulf of Mexico. So dry air, yeah, is not going to be a factor with this system whatsoever. So let's take a look at rainfall totals. Those of you into parts of Jamaica, Cayman Islands, and Central America, and the northern coast of South America. This is in millimeters, by the way. Most other countries outside the U.S., yes, they measure in millimeters. It's the metric system. So take a look at this. This takes us through the weekend here. Here's the island of Jamaica. You're anywhere from 25 southern shores upwards of 60, 70 millimeters. So essentially what you're looking at this point of the game is probably 1 to maybe as much as 2.5 inches out of this. Now, these yellows here along the northern coast of South America, and then you get into Central America from Belize all the way down through parts of Nicaragua, Honduras, these areas, you could be seeing upwards of 100 to, in these darker oranges, 250 millimeters here. That's anywhere from about 3.5 all the way up to about 6, 7, 8 inches there. So definitely keep an eye on this. I'm going to take a look. Let's compare the GFS and see how close this gets to the island of Jamaica. So here we go with the GFS. Let's take a look, put this into motion through the weekend into early next week. It's a bit similar here. So yeah, it's slightly a little to the north. You see parts See parts of northern Jamaica barely getting 10 to 25 millimeters. But look at this. The southern and eastern part of the island, it's going to be very dependent on how close you are to that south coast. You could get upwards of close to 100 millimeters. So that could be, 3.5, 4 inches in some of these areas. So if you're in Jamaica, I think you're going to get some pretty decent rains out of this. But look at this. The big show is going to be south of you. The Cayman Islands are going to miss out for the most part out of this too, but look at this. This is 100 to 250 millimeters of rain. That's anywhere from 3.5 all the way up to 6, 7, 8. These darker oranges, you're getting in excess of 300 millimeters. That's getting up towards 8, 10, 11 inches here. So keep an eye out for this. All right, so Eastern Pacific, is there anything to worry about here? Well, it starts off pretty quiet here. Take a look at this. The big show is off there in the Caribbean on the Atlantic side. And some of this energy might try to form here. This is Friday, October 14th. We might have a few pieces of energy that try to ride off of this. You can see here into the Eastern Pacific. But at this time, I don't think much is going to come out of this. Look at this. This is Monday, October 18th. If we go across the rest of the pond here over towards the Western Pacific, let's back this up. It really starts off really quiet out here. Look at this. This is eerily quiet for the Western Pacific, but look at this. We do start to get some activity here. We have to start turning our attention more towards the Philippines, Vietnam here. We got some tropical moisture here, a couple tropical waves to watch out here into the Western Pacific. This is Wednesday, October 12th, and as we continue in time here, take a look at this. Yeah, we could have, there's a couple spin-ups here, but this is one in particular. This is out Thursday. This is out about a week, October 13th. Take a look at this. We could have ourselves a typhoon forming here just northeast of Vietnam here, west of the Philippines, just south of China. Let's see who it potentially affects here. So yeah, this heads into parts of the northern part of Vietnam. Oh, wow. This could be a big moisture fetch heading into northern Vietnam here. You can see all this moisture heading in, and it starts to slow downward in forward speed here. You can see as we head into Saturday, October 15th. And look at that. It tries to reform something out over the open waters come the 17th of October. And just a big old tropical mess out here into parts of the Western Pacific. I'll keep an eye on it for you, but look at this. This is beautiful for the Philippines. Really, really nice and quiet. All right, the upper air pattern here on the Euro. So we start off with this big trough in the east, but that's quickly going to lift out here. High pressure is going to build in. You see the high that's basically steering the system here in the Caribbean. It stretches all the way across the Gulf and northern Caribbean as well. That is keeping that system on the westward and then eventually west-southwest track here. And as we continue in time, take a look at this. For the weekend, yep, a big old trough setting up across the eastern part of the United States. Here's our system there, denoted by the Euro. Massive super ridge developing out west here and blocking just south of Greenland. It's not quite there yet, but watch as we head into next week. This trough kind of lifts out across the eastern part of the U.S. We're going to bring this ridge in, but look what is staying tough here. This massive high-pressure system. Any tropical systems we have will be slammed and steered into Central America, at least through the middle part of October. So the United States, look at this. This high really starts to build here across the Eastern Gulf, Caribbean, and the Bahamas here. That also combines forces with an East Coast high-pressure system, this ridging pattern. But look what starts to replace. This is a big advertised trough that we've been talking about for quite some time, heading up across parts of eastern North America. We're going to start seeing some wintry conditions here into central and eastern Canada. And look at that. That's going to be a big shot of cold air. And this is the pattern you want to see for East Coast snowstorms here. Look at this. Massive, massive ridging here. Does this mean we're potentially could see some early snows here across the eastern part of the U.S.? If this pattern continues, look at this super ridge developing here up here into Alaska. This is definitely, for people who like snow, this is the pattern you definitely want to see. All right, so if we take a look at the GFS, it's pretty similar all the way up through, we get to Friday, October 14th. Look at this. This is what I wanted to show you. The GFS is much more pronounced on this trough, getting all the way down into parts of the Gulf and the Caribbean and encompassing even Bermuda area. So any of these tropical systems that do form, they wouldn't be blocked, but they would be carried up potentially across Florida, the southeast, and then eventually shoved out to sea here. You can see this heading on into Saturday, October 15th and the 16th. Look at this. This is a massively ominous pattern here. Negatively tilted troughs here and massive blocking ridge up here in Greenland. Look at that. This is definitely the pattern. We're starting off with a pattern here that's very conducive, for East Coast storms here. So we definitely got to keep an eye on this as well. All right, so taking a look at the HRRR model, this is essentially your future radar. So as we take it through Thursday evening into Friday here, we're going to have some showers here in upstate New York and northeastern Pennsylvania up into parts of Vermont, southeastern Canada. But you know what? There isn't a whole lot of weather going on across the rest of the country. That's very good news, especially the east here. But as we head into Friday, what's going to happen here? We do have a cold front moving in. This is by 10 a.m. So you can see the leading edge here of a cold front moving in. And up here, we'll have some scattered convection as well. I'm not expecting any strong thunderstorms or anything, but there will be definitely a noticeable feeling difference here across the Northeast. So as this front moves through Binghamton, State College, Pittsburgh by noon to 3 p.m., it's going to feel a lot cooler. And unfortunately, look what is forming behind this. Lake effect rain showers are kicking in here. So, that's essentially what we're looking at. And the lake response is there. So if you're downwind of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, Cleveland here, Erie, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, these areas, the Finger Lakes, you will be getting some lake effect rain showers. So let's see if these will kick out of the area. We'll have high pressure trying to crust overhead into Saturday. We still have a plume here off of the eastern end of Lake Ontario up into Oswego, Lewis, and Jefferson counties up here. But for most of the Northeast, you'll be clearing out for a pretty nice but chilly weekend. And Jim here from North Stonington, Connecticut area. Take a look at this. The remnants of Ian hanging on over this area back here on October 4th. Take a look at that. You can see some fall foliage changing here as well, but look at that, the backdrop that back there. This has been like the problem across much of the Northeast, although it is bringing beneficial rain. So, it's a little pesky and destroys your outdoor plans, but you know what? It is part of what we kind of need. And as we head towards his second photo, this was back on October 1st, Ian is kicking up fog across his region there as well. So take a look at that nice capture. This has been the dreariness that we've been experiencing across much of the Northeast as the remnants of Ian have basically turned into a coastal low or a weak nor'easter. All right, so John from Fire Island, take a look at this. Very, very rough surf out here on the beach. Look at that, some stormy conditions. This was this coastal low that continued to be a problem across much of the area. You can see, look at that. Massively high surf just continuing. This was quite a sight to behold here as this system, the remnants of what was Ian, basically turned into a coastal low or a weak nor'easter. So this has been like the problem for the last several days, but thankfully it is finally pulling away from the coast. Those are some pretty big waves there. Nice captures, John. All right, so temperature trends here. This is your Friday. Look at this. The bottom is just falling out here. Anywhere north of this line, you probably won't get out of the 50s. And look at this. Even the 40s across the northern Great Lakes. The Northeast, 70s along the coast. But look at this. Your temperatures will be falling really sharply. Upstate New York, your early highs in the upper 50s near 60 and tumbling into Saturday. Look at this. You're not getting out of the 50s north of that line. Look at that. That's going to be a cool day. But thankfully, it will be clearing. Into Sunday, we start to warm up a little bit. Near 60 most areas. That's pretty tolerable. If you take a look, we're getting kind of a warming trend trying to creep back up here. And of course, out west, you're going to see much warmer temperatures with that ridge. But look at this. This is heading on into Monday, October 10th. We continue that pattern there of troughiness up here in the Northeast. That's going to keep things cool, but seasonably cool. It's not going to be, intolerable at this point, but we're going to have this temporary ridge here in the central part of the U.S. Tuesday into Wednesday, and look what starts to happen. The trough starts to kick. This is going to slowly head to the east, but we do head into the mid to upper 60s across parts of the Northeast for your Wednesday. Extended outlook for my hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton's upper Susquehanna River Valley of upstate New York into northeast Pennsylvania. Look at this, Friday through Tuesday. We really have fall set in here from Friday. The cold front moves through between noon and 3 p.m. We might have a few scattered showers. The wind will shift out of the northwest, so you'll have an early high near 60 with temperatures falling through the 50s and upper 40s throughout the afternoon for your evening commute. Into Saturday, a frosty start at 33. It will be clouds kicking away to sunshine. It will be blustery out of the northwest, only 53 for your high into Sunday. We make it to 60 after a freezing start. Sunshine abound from Sunday to Tuesday. Look at that, rebounding to 67 by Tuesday. As always, I want to thank you for joining me for this edition of Weather Eastern and Hurricane Eastern. Don't forget, Facebook, social media, MediaMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Hurricane Northeastern, also Susquehanna Weather, also MediaMark.com, WeatherNortheastern.com, Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell button if you haven't already. Question or comment down below. Let's keep the weather conversation going. Thanks for joining me.